I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch network. I want to discuss something that is just so disturbing, but so defines who these MAGA Republican extremists are. And it's what took place after the verdict of nearly $1 billion against Alex Jones was read. And all of these MAGA Republican leaders, the core MAGA supporters, they're MAGA influencers and political leaders. These are the people who are defining what it means to be a Republican in 2022. What did they all do? They all rushed to Alex Jones's defense and basically said, if anybody criticizes what Alex Jones did, you are the ones being hateful. That your hatred and your resentment of his conspiracy theories, that's what's the problem, not what Alex Jones did. We just see some of the most horrid and disgusting statements. And this is why, as I say, there is nothing conservative at all about these MAGA Republicans. They're not a conservative party. They are conspiracy theory, lunatic, dangerous, wannabe fascists. That's who they are, and it is disturbing, and it needs to be called out. And all they want to do is use social media for hate and for spreading medical disinformation and a combination of hate and medical disinformation. And when they're told, no, you can't do that, they go, oh, you're violating all of my rights. I want to have the right to spread hate and to spread disinformation and to stop it. Stop it. As Tim Ryan said, the exhausted majority is just done with this. I'm going to read for you right now what some of these MAGA influencers did. But just a reminder that Alex Jones was put on trial for defamation. This was in Connecticut after losing about a $50 million verdict in Texas. Put on trial in Connecticut, this time by 15 plaintiffs. He defamed. Many of those plaintiffs lost their children in the Sandy Hook massacre. There were some plaintiffs like an FBI agent who was involved as a first responder, but by and large, we're talking about parents who lost their children in Sandy Hook, people who lost loved ones in Sandy Hook, who Alex Jones lied and said that these people were crisis actors and that they were making it up. And some of the testimony that we got was just so disturbing and so appalling. And as Mark Burden, one of the plaintiffs, testified that conspiracy theorist urinated on the grave of his 7-year-old son Daniel and threatened to dig up the coffin. He was awarded $86 million. Erica Lafferty, the daughter of slain Sandy Hook principal Dawn Hochsprung, testified that people mailed rape threats to her house. She said, quote, "I wish that after today I can just be a daughter grieving my mother and stop worrying about the conspiracy theorists," she said outside the court. But she predicted that Jones' hate lies and conspiracy theories will follow both me and my family through the rest of our days. Those are just some examples. And this is what MAGA Republican extremist Charlie Kirk said following the verdict. He said, "This isn't about calculating real damages for Alex Jones. This is about sending a message. If you upset the regime, they will destroy you completely and utterly." And David Hogg, who survived the school shooting, said, "What the actual fuck are you talking about? How do people take you seriously when you say stuff like this? It's actually about sending this message. You can't make hundreds of millions off spreading conspiracy theories about school shootings not being real." And so that's what Charlie Kirk said. Then he wasn't done. Charlie Kirk also said, if Alex Jones owes $1 billion for saying mean things on his show, how much should propagandists at CNN, MSNBC, Washington Post, and the New York Times pay to all the Americans they pressured to inject their kids, saying it would prevent transmission to grandma? Again, you have here a combination of hate, a combination of conspiracy theories, a combination of medical disinformation. What Charlie Kirk just said there is absolutely disgusting. And Charlie Kirk, who runs Turning Point USA, that is the event where all of the MAGA leadership, the Republicans, where Ted Cruz stands on stage and he goes, "My pronouns are shut the hell up." That's the Turning Point USA events that Charlie Kirk holds, and where Trump speaks, and where all of these MAGA Republicans, who are now the Republican Party, go and speak. That is what Charlie Kirk's take was. Going to Benny Johnson, who's also has a top-level executive job at Turning Points, a major MAGA Republican influencer, he said, Alex Jones was just ordered to pay nearly $1 billion in a second defamation trial. Just like deplatforming, this isn't about Alex Jones. It's about silencing political enemies. The regime is setting a precedent that if you speak out, they will come after you and try to destroy you. Again, using that language of the regime, it's about silencing political enemies. It has nothing to do with silencing political enemies. This sick and disgusting and deplorable human being, Alex Jones, who said the most hateful and disturbing and disgusting things about families who lost their loved ones in a horrific school shooting. In a terrorist attack, they lost their kids who were sent to school. And Alex Jones encouraged his conspiracy theorist followers to do these heinous things and spread lies about them and call them actors and tortured them and tortured these parents who lost their children and tortured these children who lost their parents, like the teachers, and tortured these people who were going through the most unthinkable, the most hard acts. And the MAGA Republicans support Alex Jones. They run to Alex Jones's defense. That is who they support in this. That's who MAGA Republicans are. Buzz Patterson, who works for MAGA organization Red State, goes, "I'm not an attorney, but the Alex Jones damages in this trial seem horribly excessive. Hundreds of millions of dollars? What am I missing?" Like, they act like that this is normal. What am I missing? Oh, so isn't this normal that adults defame the victims' families in school shootings and say that they're actors? What am I missing here? Horrible and horrific. This is what Marjorie Taylor Greene said from her official Twitter account as a representative, as a congresswoman. She said, "No matter what you think of Alex Jones, all he did was speak words. He was not the one who pulled the trigger. Were his words wrong, and did he apologize? Yes, that's what freedom of speech is, freedom to speak words." She writes, "Political persecution must end." Again, referring to this as political persecution. There's nothing political persecution here. Alex Jones was sued for a cause of action for defamation of character. Alex Jones did not even produce discovery. He did not respond in connection with the litigation. So a default judgment was taken against him. So he was found in default, and then a trial was held in front of a jury who awarded these damages after hearing evidence. It's nothing about political persecution, about Alex Jones defaming the surviving family members who lost loved ones in the most horrific and tragic of incidents, in the Sandy Hook school shooting. There is absolutely nothing political persecution about that. And remember, before being a member of Congress, and even during her term as Congress, Marjorie Taylor Greene was out there following and harassing David Hogg, who we just talked about. I mean, she was out there following him and calling him a crisis actor, and she was part of this crew, very recently, and still to this day. It should also be noted that Marjorie Taylor Greene is a regular guest on Alex Jones's show. Roger Stone is a regular guest on Alex Jones's show. Here, let's just go. This is what Anthony Sabatini, who is actually a Republican, MAGA Republican representative in the Florida House of Representatives. So he is a Republican leader in Florida right now. And this is what he wrote. Today, after the verdict, Alex Jones should be appointed as the next president of the University of Florida, not Ben Sasse. By the way, I think Ben Sasse should not be appointed president of the University of Florida. And I think Florida's selection process of Ben Sasse, who's the senator from Nebraska, who's stridently anti-LGBTQ+, which I think should be a disqualifying factor for someone who wants to represent a diverse student body. But this is what Representative Anthony Sabatini says after the verdict. We need to have Alex Jones as the president of the University of Florida. Take a step back for a second. MAGA Republican leader Sabatini, big supporter of Trump. Trump's a big fan of Sabatini. This is what they would want. They would want people like Alex Jones, after all of this, to become the president of the University of Florida. By the way, that's the type of people, if these MAGA Republicans win in the midterms, who will be running the House Judiciary Committee and other major committees. Right? It's not legitimate political discourse with these people. It's ridiculous stuff like this that they're actually going to turn into action. The people who would be running our Judiciary Committee and our Ways and Means Committee, committees over appropriations, committees over our military, would be people with the ideas of Sabatini, who view this about Alex Jones, and even after the verdict, to basically say things like this. This is a guy named Cernovich. He goes, Alex Jones killed no one. He apologized for his erroneous reports, of which there were many. Nevertheless, in a trial where he wasn't allowed to defend himself on free speech grounds, he's now being ordered to pay hundreds of millions of dollars. Stalin's ghost has returned. I mean, that's their whole thing too. Political persecution, Stalin's ghost. I mean, these people, if they got in power, the Cernovics or the Cernoviches and the Sabatinis, they are the ones. The reason they gaslight this is because their idols are people like the Stalins. Their idols are the people like Maduro in Venezuela. Their idols are the people like Putin. That's the people who actually, their leadership style that they actually support. He's saying Stalin's ghost has returned. By the way, Alex Jones absolutely did. I mean, it's all disinformation. He did have an opportunity to defend himself. He chose not to participate in it when he was given the opportunity to. And so he was found in default. If you don't participate in the case, you're found in default. And then he was able to put on a defense about what the damages should or shouldn't be. And a jury listened to it and awarded these amount of damages. He's not a political prisoner. It's not Stalin's ghost. It is a despicable and disgusting act by Alex Jones, who tortured these families, who literally tortured them. The most sick and disgusting and depraved act after they're victims of school shootings, to torture them, to terrorize these families. And you're out there, MAGA Republicans, actually the Republican Party, you're out there claiming you're conservative and you're doing this. People, we need to wake up. We need to be able to have these conversations. Send this video, please. If you have family members who, or friends or colleagues or whatever, who may be on the fence, please send this video, share this video, show them this, and say, here is what the Republicans are doing and saying. This is mainstream Republican stuff. This is not fringe Republican stuff, because maybe once upon a time this was fringe. These are the mainstream Republican leaders right now. And they are saying that Alex Jones, who terrorized families who lost loved ones in a horrific school shooting, Alex Jones said that they were crisis actors. He said that they were faking it. He encouraged people to piss on their graves. He encouraged people to send these horrific letters. He inspired all of that. And all these right-wing MAGA Republicans are out there saying he should be the president of the University of Florida and he's being politically persecuted. And oh my God, Stalin's ghost, because how dare we address these issues? Don't forget, by the way, what J.D. Vance once said, right? J.D. Vance, who's running for, he's a MAGA Republican, who Tim Ryan called a kiss ass because Donald Trump said, "I love the way J.D. Vance kisses my ass." Just like Kim Jong-un, they're ass kissers. I love ass kissers like J.D. Vance. He didn't like me, now he kisses my ass and does whatever I say. Tim Ryan called him out and goes, who does that? Who doesn't stand up for themselves while someone says that you kiss my ass? As Tim Ryan says, Ohio needs an ass kicker, not an ass kisser. And J.D. Vance said in September of 2021, not too long ago, Alex Jones is a far more reputable source of information than Rachel Maddow. One of them is censored by the regime, the other promoted by it. Just think of the language he's using. All that bogus, false, inflammatory language of the regime to try to scare. One of them is censored by the regime. The other is promoted by it. And by the way, when J.D. Vance wrote this, think about it, this man wants to be the senator. This man is who MAGA Republicans have put forward to be the senator of the great state of Ohio. And at this time, he was well aware that Alex Jones was engaged in this conduct and was engaged in defamatory conduct and saying that the families of Sandy Hook victims were crisis actors and they were making it up. Just think about it. J.D. Vance supports that psychological terrorism that Alex Jones engaged in. That's not inflammatory language. I mean, I can't even fathom or imagine the pain, the horrible pain that families were put through. Again, after the most horrific thing could happen, that you then have Alex Jones out there using his platform to tell his conspiracy theorist followers and people like J.D. Vance cheering him on and rallying around him as he terrorizes you, as he terrorizes the families who lost loved ones in the Sandy Hook massacre. We should not forget as well that Trump repeatedly appeared on Alex Jones, was a major ally of Alex Jones, appeared on the show. So disgusting. And as I said before, share this video, please, with anyone who you think is still on the fringe, who doesn't know, or on the fence, who doesn't know where they're going to vote, they're thinking about it. Remind them. Say, please, please vote. Please vote for Democrats. There's only one responsible adult party that takes their job seriously. And not only do the Republicans, which are now the MAGA Republicans, not only do they not take their job seriously, not only do they not take it seriously, but they engage in this type of conduct, rallying around Alex Jones after a defamation verdict by a jury who said, your conduct in terrorizing families who lost loved ones in a school massacre, your conduct in terrorizing them should have damages, that there should be damages for that. And that what you did is one of the most horrific things. And all the Republicans say, oh, it's the regime, a regime. Stalin's ghost, the regime. These MAGA Republicans are it's indefensible. It's horrific. Make sure you share these videos. Make sure you let everybody know you got to vote Democrat. Do I have disagreements with the Democrats? Sometimes, sure. On policies, I could disagree on certain issues and think maybe this way is a better way to do it than that way, and should it be this tier versus that tier? Sure, but we're trying to solve problems. We're trying to figure out situations. We're trying to grapple with real issues. And on the other hand, you've got MAGA Republicans rallying behind these psychological terrorists, these sick, defamatory, horrid individuals who attack families who lose loved ones in school shootings. It's horrible. I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. Hey, hit the subscribe button right now. We are on our way to 1 million subscribers. Thanks to you. hit the subscribe button right now. In addition to hitting the subscribe button, if you want to help grow this independent media network, check us out at patreon.com/MeidasTouch, patreon.com/MeidasTouch, patreon.com/MeidasTouch. Thanks.
This November is Rowvember. MeidasTouch just released its brand new collection of Rowvember t-shirts and pins to let the country know what's at stake this upcoming midterm election. Go to store.MeidasTouch.com to grab yours. That's store.MeidasTouch.com.